Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all my wonderful and beautiful little subscribers out there. And how I love you all so, and I hope that you're all super duper well, super duper wonderful, and super duper delicious. And that life is treating you most deliciously wherever you are. So, what do we do? 3, 2, 1, 4. My juicy little lights. Thank you, little lights. You're delicious and bright. Yes, you are, aren't you, little lights? Okay. Now then, so it's almost 2 p.m. in our old England, my delicious little babies, and it's not a blue sky today. The weather, it's not cold, but I personally do not feel it's t-shirt weather. That's just my opinion, my delicious little babies. Okay. And the sky is looking rather white. Okay, my delicious little babies. Now then, so I've got a few things for you today, and I hope that life is treating you all most deliciously wherever you are in the world, my little lovelies. Now then, so yeah, so right, okay. So the first one I've got, my delicious little babies. Okay. This is, well, actually, to be honest, they're all on YouTube, the videos that I'm going to advertise. But first of all, I want to advertise, I just go it, my delicious little babies, okay? And what I typed in was interviews with Whitney Space Web, okay? So it's interview space Whitney Space Web. Or you could just do Whitney Web, okay, spaces, and then space unlimited hangout, okay, my delicious little babies. So I've been listening to our lovely Whitney, and with anybody not in that way, I've been listening to our lovely Whitney this morning, okay, and it's where she does interviews. So you do not see our dear little Whitney and a dear little guest, but you hear it, okay. So yeah, really important to take a listen to our lovely little Whitney and her lovely little guests, okay? Because she keeps, there we are, everybody updated with what's going on. And of course, I have mentioned our lovely little Whitney many times over my over a few years of doing YouTube videos, my delicious little babies, okay? Because of course, we're having to go to different places now, my delicious little babies, it seems. You know what I mean? The foghorns are still going on the ships, aren't they? Anyway, my delicious little babies. So, yeah. So, please, it's called Unlimited Hangout. Okay, my delicious little babies, okay? You can subscribe if you wish to subscribe, okay? And, yeah. Because I just, for myself, really, I like to listen to, let's just say, intelligence, not crap, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I'm saying? Yes. I also noticed, sorry, before I begin, I also noticed that with the tariffs, that there we are certain have become that we are very rich, haven't they, my delicious little babies? Richer than what they already are, my delicious little babies. Do you see how this, there we are, rocks and rolls, my delicious little babies? Yes. Now then, so this is on YouTube, my delicious little babies. This uploader happens to have 133,000 subscribers, my delicious little babies. In the old space bar in YouTube, my delicious little babies. Should anybody happen to have any form of an interest, I'm sure that for some, they will already know who this is. I'm pretty sure that I've mentioned this uploader months and months and months ago, my delicious little babies. Kind pop back up onto my feed, because you see some videos pop up onto my feed. I've said this before, and I've never seen them before in my life. Do you see what I mean? Okay. And of course, and then there's others where they pop up, and I've probably looked at them years ago. Do you see what I mean? Okay, or viewed the video. But this is all lowercase, okay, my delicious little babies, so no capitals. And it's all together, the words and the numbers. So it's men, MANE, co, 64, numbers 64. Okay, my delicious little babies. That's the upload of my delicious little babies. Now, this video, I do believe, has been uploaded, I think, just over 2 hours ago. Okay, my delicious little babies. And it should read, and it's just over 45 minutes long, my delicious little babies. Next fares down in stocks will drive us off the page in gold, silver, and manas. Okay, my delicious little babies, so I'm just going to repeat that again for you, shall I? Next fares down in stocks will drive us off the page in gold, silver, and manas. Okay, my delicious little babies, okay? Interesting, isn't it, with the word manners? You see what I mean? So, as I always say, there we are, some who are viewing my videos, my delicious little babies. I've been a long time saying it. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? Plus, I've got the buggies, buggies in my home, my delicious little babies, in my flat, okay? But of course, I still do not know exactly where they are. Okay, my delicious little babies, but there we are. But I am going to sort it out, okay? Because, to be quite honest with you, I just do not see why if they want to know information, why they just do not there we are, look at my videos. There's no need to boogie my home. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies, okay? You imagine, they know when you're going to the toilet, they know when you're going out, when you're coming in. They know, there we are, they know everything, my delicious little babies. Imagine living like that. It's not very nice, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I mean, okay? And some days it does drive me, there we are, absolutely round the effing bend. And then there's other days where I just say to myself, oh, just leave them. Do you understand what I mean, my delicious little babies, okay? But as far as I'm concerned, I can only give out, there we are, what I give out. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay, there we are. I can only give out what I can give out. Do you know what I mean? Okay? But I'll repeat once again, I'm sure if they were being spied on, they wouldn't like it, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I'm saying? But they don't mind, there we are, doing it to others now. Do you see what I mean? Okay? Just some days just pees me off, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? I had a sing-along evening the other evening. Do you know what I mean? Because I thought, well, if you want to flipping learn something, let's go through some songs. Do you know what I mean, my delicious little babies? Oh, and that reminds me, I woke up the one morning, my delicious little babies, and the song that was in my noddle, and it was a really old song from Cheryl Cole, who used to be married to Ashley Cole. Fight for This Love. So I listened to the song a couple of times, and just looked at the lyrics. So I just took bits and there we are, pieces out of the words. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? Yes. It's just I couldn't understand it. Because you see, for everybody who I know, for the majority, they're all in loving relationships. So I thought, well, where's this coming from? I just couldn't understand, why I was getting that song, my delicious little babies, at all. Do you know what I mean? It was just really, there we are, it was just really odd. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, never mind. So yeah, so what this is talking about at the moment is the, to do with everything what's going on at present, and to do with all the gold and silver and everything, okay? And I just thought this was an interesting video because I've listened to it, so I just thought this was an interesting video to write down, my delicious little babies. And it is up to yourselves. Like I said, for some, there we are, you will already know who this is. Stumbled there, didn't I? Okay? But for others of our delicious little babies out there, you will not know. Okay, but there we are, well worth a listen to. Please and thank you. Like I said, should anybody have any form of an interest. Now then, So the next one, my delicious little babies, okay? Oh, yeah, this one here, my delicious little babies, okay? This is in the old space bar in YouTube, my delicious little babies, okay? So I thought I'd break it up a bit, you know what I mean? Because it's usually serious, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? But occasionally, you know, I do have a laugh these days, my delicious little babies, okay? It's just that my time is consumed with you know, trying to, there we are, keep up with everything, my delicious little babies. And believe you me, some days it's, there we are, extremely tiring. This uploader happens to have 81.4 thousand subscribers, my delicious little babies, okay? So yeah, 81.4 thousand subscribers, my delicious little babies. So in the old space bar, capital G, the rest in, you know, letters in lowercase, Grandad Joe. So it's the two words together, my delicious little babies. Grandad Joe. Okay, my delicious little babies with an E on the end. Okay. And it's just over 3 minutes, or it's about 3.5 minutes long, my delicious little babies. I have seen these long time, okay? But I just thought I'd mention it because this is a good one to mention. Do you know what I mean, my delicious little babies? Yes. Grandad isn't happy. Okay, my delicious little babies, no, he's not happy. And he's not happy because, you know, like in these shops, my delicious little babies, where you can sort of buy in the frozen section, it's like a meal for one. Okay, my delicious little babies. So what he's got there is mashed potato, vegetables, and he's got in a separate part in the old plastic, he's got liver. I think it's liver and onions or something. Okay. Anyway, well, of course, we go back decades ago. You know, there were very much. I remember it when I was very little. I mean, me myself personally, I did not like liver and onions. Do you know what I mean? But when I was very little, you know, that's what was put in front of me, my delicious little babies, you know, but there was a lot of meat, you know, and everything like that. Now then, do you see what I mean? Okay, you know, that's before it got tampered with. But I just wasn't keen on liver and onions. But you find with a lot of the older generation, and anybody who happens to be listening to myself from wherever you are in the world, if you remember these times, you know, maybe with your beautiful dear elderly family or something, you know what I mean? So it sort of just brought back memories to me, my delicious little babies, okay? But yes, but when his daughter Bear handed him his ready meal, my delicious little babies, he said, "What's this?" And he said he'd get better if he was in a home. My delicious little babies, okay? And then you turn around and say, "Well, you know, I'm off out tonight." Do you know what I mean? You know, to go and eat. And he said, "Oh," he says, "So you're going out?" He said, and I was, you know, basically words to effect, and I'm stuck with this. Do you see what I mean? Okay. Then he ended up with what was it? Peaches for his dessert. He said, "Oh yes, you know, I'll have some of those." And some squirty cream, you know, the Bailey's cream. My delicious little babies, okay? He said, "There's a lot of green in it, yeah." Okay, my delicious little babies, okay? Anyway, but really well worth a little watch, my delicious little babies. I mean, he's an elderly dear gentleman. Oh, yeah, bless him. Do you know what I mean? But, you know, that's what it is with the elder generation. You know, they do have, there we are, a very good sense of humour. Of course, I know that you get some, bless them, where they're just not very happy. You know, they're just very down and depressed, very sadly, my delicious little babies, okay? And me, of course, you know, being a carer on and off for over 2 decades, 20 years, do you know what I mean? I used to meet all different, do you know what I mean? But they've got a really good sense of humour for some of them. Do you know what I'm saying? Yes, okay. And as far as I'm concerned, there we are. They are certainly, there we are, worth their weight in gold. Believe me on that one, my delicious little babies, okay? But well worth a little listen, should anybody have any form of an interest. You know what I mean? It is good, you know what I mean? Now, finally, what I want to talk about is this. Now, this video here, is it is it 50? Is it just over 50 minutes long? I think it could be Marvelous Babies Kai, because I know with our lovely Whitney Webb, that was an hour and 56 minutes something that I listened to this morning, Marvelous Babies Kai. She's talking to, is it a doctor, a Swedish Dr. Marvelous Babies Kai? And, you know, they're certainly telling, put it this way, everybody, there we are, what is going on in the world, Marvelous Babies. Anyway, bless them. Bless them. Okay. This final one, this uploader, this is the first time that this is came up on my feed, my delicious little babies. Okay, this uploader doesn't mean no. Happens to have 517,000 subscribers, my delicious little babies. Okay, and it's called, so in the old space bar, my delicious little babies, in old YouTube. And again, some of you may have seen your man here before, but some of you may not have done, okay? Because I certainly have not, okay? Phoenix, capital P, and the rest of the word in lowercase. So it's PHOENRX space, capital R, and the rest in a lowercase, resale. So it's, you know, resale, it's all one word, Marvelous Babies. That's the uploader, okay? And I was just sort of about quarter of the way through it, Marvelous Babies, but I needed to bang out my video to you all, Marvelous Babies, okay? Should read, this multi-millionaire got rich selling used t-shirts. There we are. Yes, Marvelous Babies. I'll just repeat that for you again, shall I? This multi-millionaire got rich selling used t-shirts. Yes, my delicious little babies, okay? It's actually, there we are, really interesting, my delicious little babies. And I'll tell you the reason why, because when he strikes a deal with somebody, you know, he'll buy like, you know, in some cases over a ton, meaning 100. Like over 100 t-shirts, my delicious little babies, okay? And he sells them, you know, on a famous site, begins with E. Okay, occasionally I slip up and I do say it. And I tell you what, he bangs them out for, do you understand what I mean? And these are second-hand, my delicious little babies, okay? And what they say, like, towards the start of the video, is that he sells more than your average, there we are, outlet, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay. So he sells used t-shirts and caps, my delicious little babies, okay? But what's really good about your man there now, and like I said, not in that way, not in that way, what's really good about him is that, like, say if you come across a lot of, not being disrespectful, but if you come across a lot of businessmen, okay, there we are, extremely selfish, okay, my delicious babies. Like I said, you've probably got a small handful who are not, but for the rest of them, there we are, they're very selfish indeed, okay? With your man here now, and this is why I'd really like you to watch this, my delicious babies, okay? He cares, there we are, about others as well. You know, not just his own ends. And the thing is, he loves, absolutely, there we are, adores what he does. Do you see what I mean, Martin? Babies can. And what he does, he goes around what we call, you know, like the, you know, we call them car boots over here and things like this now then. But of course, what some would call it is called a flea market. Well, in some places here, they call it a flea market, okay? But for most, it's called a car boot. Okay, Martin, babies, okay? So, you know, what he does, he goes and gets all of these t-shirts, you know, and usually, you know, for ones and caps, there we are, that he knows that he can sell, okay? And he shows you and how much, there we are, they're fetching. Honestly, it's absolutely unreal, my delicious little babies. Do you understand what I mean? I just thought it's really, really good. So I will be watching the rest of it. There we are. I really, really will. Do you see what I mean? But what's my point to what I've just said? My point is, for anybody out there, okay, you know, and especially because of the way that the world is at the moment, my delicious little babies, okay, maybe ones need to be, looking, there we are, at this. Do you know what I mean? Because, I mean, it's very rare you'd ever get somebody in business where, they start out and it's all just laid on a plate for them. No, there we are, they have to work at it. Do you see what I mean? Okay. So you start out very little, you start out small, and then you start to, there we are, to expand. Do you see what I mean, my delicious babies? Okay. But for anybody out there, and the other good thing that he said that he does as well, okay, because he doesn't go, oh, it's just a figure of speech, my delicious little babies. You know the words that I just got? Half-cocked. Half-cocked, my delicious little babies. He doesn't just go half-cocked. So he does, there we are, all of his research first. What type of, like car boot, flea market, and he finds out all about it, and then makes a decision whether he wants to go there. Do you know what I mean? Okay. So it appears to myself he's very, there we are, thorough with what he does. But yeah, he's a multimillionaire, my delicious babies. Okay. So for any little entrepreneurs out there to be, my delicious little babies, please look at like videos. There we are, videos like this now. Then, do you see what I mean? Okay. Because you can make a very good living, a decent living, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay. I mean, if you look at these like charity shops that we have, I mean, there seems to be more charity shops than actual shops, my delicious little babies, really. But it's amazing, there we are, how much ka-ching they can make, my delicious little babies, and that's, there we are, on a daily basis. Do you see what I mean? Okay, just through others, unwanted items, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I'm saying? Yes. So I just thought I'd mention it. Oh, and very lastly, I was watching this video, was it yesterday? His name is Joe, another Joe, Joe. And then it's space, is it Henson or Hansen? It's one of those, in YouTube, my delicious little babies. He has, is it 1.07 million subscribers, my delicious little babies? And what it is, he goes around and from what I gathered, well, it's quite obvious what he does to myself, my delicious little babies. It's not obvious to yourselves, my little beautifuls, but it was to myself. And that came up on my feed as well. I'd never seen him before either, my delicious little babies, okay? And what he does, he goes round and he eats the most largest meals, there we are, you can eat. And he happened to be in old England, in our old England, my delicious little babies. I think this video was, I think it was a few month old, my delicious little babies. Anyway, and where did he go to? Margate by Kent. My delicious little babies, Margate, Kent, sorry. Okay, my delicious little babies. Anyway, and he had, doesn't mean no, he had one massive plate, and on it was, what was it, 4 sausages, 4 eggs, a pile of chips, no black pudding, my delicious little babies. Well, of course, in our old England, for ones who know and who eat meat, and I used to eat meat, my delicious little babies, if you're going to have a full English, then you would have, and I know myself, I've cooked enough of them in my decades, my delicious little babies. You would have eggs, fried egg or scrambled or omelette, whatever ones, or poached, sausage, bacon, black pudding or white pudding. With the white pudding, it's more Irish, okay, my delicious little babies. Mushrooms, beans, or, some may like spaghetti. And then you have toast, or, some would have fried bread. Or you would have, for some like a bit of French toast, do you see what I mean? Okay. And sometimes, and it took my noddle back actually, because when I was really little now, a wee young lass now, little Ben, we used to do a lot of, my dad did, my dear dad, and my beautiful, I love him so, my beautiful dear little nanny and granddad used to do a lot of bubble and squeak. And with the bubble and squeak, it was usually, this is how I always remember it, it was usually, there we are, the leftovers from the meal before. So say, for example, even if it was a Sunday roast, you would save, the bits that are left over, and then there we are, you'd make it into a bubble and squeak. And some would have that, there we are, for their brekkie, for the breakfast, my delicious little babies, do you see what I mean? So that took my noddle back. That's whilst, sometimes I like to watch these different videos, do you see what I mean? It jogs your memory, do you know what I mean? Your old noddle. But yeah, so he ate the first plate. And bear in mind what the bet was. So you need to watch this, please, and thank you for anybody who happens to have any form of an interest in my delicious babies. I really would suggest that, there we are, really taking a look at this. Please and thank you, these videos, okay? Because there's another one to do with a donair kebab. My delicious babies, I'll tell you about that in a moment. And so we ate the first one, but what the bet was, if you can eat the largest plate, minus the black pudding or white pudding, my delicious little babies, okay? Even he was disappointed, there we are, at that, okay, my delicious little babies, because he said, well, that's not a full, it's not a full English, okay, my delicious little babies. Anyway, that's what, there we are, he's correct, actually, okay? Yeah, so it's £2,000, ka-ching, 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 that was the bet. Okay, to see whether he could eat it. Okay, so he pauses himself. I noticed he was drinking a lot of Tanga. My delicious little babies, I was pretty sure that we can remember somebody else where it always looked like, there we are, there were Tanga, my delicious little babies, if you follow me. And I suppose good advertising, wasn't it, my delicious little babies? Yes. So we had that, and, £2,000. Do you know what I mean? You have so many minutes to eat it. Okay, my delicious babies. Then it was a bet whether he could eat the second massive plate, my delicious babies, okay? And won't be tired. There we are. He flipping polished it off. He did. Okay, my delicious babies, okay? And your man there, who owned the, is it the cafe or something? Well, you should have seen his bird race. He looked rather serious, okay? Because I mean, you are talking flipping, well, that's £4,000, isn't it, my delicious babies? You know what I mean? Just for eating now. Then another video came up, still with this same your man there now, who's American, by the way, okay? And and just to let you know, these 2 plates of food. Now, I've noticed with him, and that's on 2 of his videos, that he was wearing gloves to eat. My delicious little babies. Well, what's the point in wearing, the point that I couldn't get, what's the point in wearing gloves when shoveling it and sticking it in, in your hole, your gob, my delicious little babies? I just never got that. Do you understand what I'm saying, okay? Unless the only other reason I could spare a thought of is that maybe he didn't want his fingers stained. It's like, say, for example, if I'm using turmeric or something like this now, then it can stain your fingers, my delicious little babies, okay, with different spices or chili or something like that now, then, so it can turn it either yellow or red. And Chile and that, do you know what I mean? My delicious little babies, in India and that, you know what I mean? Anyway, my delicious little babies, let's not forget China. Okay, my delicious little babies. So, there's this gloves business now. But then the next video, I think that was a few months ago. So I think one was 2 months ago and one was 3 months ago. This was to do with a called Donair, which is, it's basically kebabs, my delicious little babies, okay? But the bet was to eat the largest kebab meat, with the sauce, with with the salad, with everything. And what the bet was to for him to complete it. My delicious little babies, okay? In between that, he did need to go to the toilet, but he said, well, thankfully, he said it was coming out to the bottom end and not this end. Okay, my delicious little babies. And if you just take one look at what your man there ate, so he had to have a pause, okay? Anyway, he was advertising, there we are, 7-Up, number 7 again, my delicious little babies, do you see what I mean, okay? Seem to be advertising, there we are, a lot of fizzy drinks, it seems, my delicious little babies, do you see what I mean, okay? So anyway, up, and away, okay, my delicious little babies, anyway. But eventually, let me tell you, he did finish it. But I strongly recommend, especially on that video, oh, by the way, he does talk about, like, with the kebab, that it's, what is it that it originates, because I think this one was made with it, oh, bless, I love our beautiful dear little cows, they're so beautiful, the little sorcerers, and that doesn't mean no. I think that was made with beef, I think it was, but usually, well, in our old England, it's usually made with lamb. Okay, it's called doner kebab. Okay, my delicious little babies, usually ones when they're rolling out of pubs will go and get a doner kebab. Do you know what I mean? My delicious little babies, okay? If they eat meat and that, okay? But what's my point in all of this? So if you look at some of the comments, what was it that some of the comments were saying? Just be careful, it's not worth it, mate. Your job, doing what he was doing. There was another one, just be careful, that you do not end up in hospital, rupturing your tummy, your stomach. Yes, my delicious babies. Something that I thought was very odd. Oh, and I did notice in the Margate one that he was drinking out of a coffee cup, but it was vinegar. My delicious little babies. Anyway, I've always said since I was little, there we are, that vinegar, there we are, is excellent for you, okay? Regardless of what they tell you. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies, okay? So what's the point to what I'm saying, okay? But with the doner kebab one, he was wearing plain, clear gloves, but on the video prior to what I mentioned, they were blue. But what he was saying about doner kebab is where's it originate from? Is it over towards, it's Greece, Greek, and Turkish? My delicious little babies, okay? But he did manage to finish it. But something that I thought that was really odd, because I know that I've seen a few other videos like this over the years now, over many years. Not many, but, because I'm just not interested in watching those kind of videos, my delicious little babies. I thought, well, he's rather slim. So for somebody who eats and can yam off food like that, I mean, imagine if there was rations. I mean, he wouldn't give anybody anything. You could just tell by his birth rate. Me personally, my spirit never took to him. And that's not being nasty, my delicious little babies. Just never took to you, man, at all. Imagine living in a street or in a road with him living on the road and a wagon turned up with food on it. He'd buy the whole lot, my delicious little babies. Do you think he'd hand it out to anybody else on his road? I don't think so. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? The way I seen that video, as I have seen other videos, I find it very money hungry. Ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. Because, they're clearly being, there we are, as well, sponsored, hence the reason why they advertise the fizzy pops and things like this now then. Do you see what I'm saying, okay? So I would say money hungry. I would actually say as well, very greedy, okay, yamming and eating food like that. And I would also say, my delicious little babies, there we are. It is damn right stupid. I do not like that word, but it's damn right stupid and silly now. You know, to put your body, there we are, through that amount. I mean, I was just looking. To be honest, it made me feel ill, but I thought I just want to see if he just completes it. Do you see what I mean? And he did on birth occasions, but I thought, wow. Do you know what I mean? Okay. Somebody put in a comment with that was it with that doner kebab, that doner, said, you know, something to do with words of effect. You know, your man there, he's somebody who doesn't like to lose. Do you see what I mean, Martin? Babies, okay? So he sat there, even though, and you should have seen him at the end of it. But what I cannot get me noddle around is how slim he is. So what is he doing? Because I know, and going back to that now then, what I was saying earlier, I've seen others where they do have a bit of a, you know, like a bit of a tum on them. Do you see what I mean? But he does not. So what's he doing? That's the question that I'm asking, my delicious babies. You know, if you're going around to do these challenges, because that's what they call them, these are all these silly, there we are, types of challenges. See how I'm stumbling there, my delicious babies. They're very silly challenges, my delicious babies. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay. But it makes you feel ill. There we are, just watching him. But like I'll repeat again, what is he doing that's keeping him slim now? Because there's no way on this earth that somebody would be as slim as that and eat and yam off food like that. There's not a chance. Because the other ones who I saw, like I said, they've got a bit of a tum on them. They put on a bit of weight now. Do you see what I mean? From the amount of grub. My delicious little babies. I just thought the whole lot was, I just thought it was rather, do you see what I mean? Okay. But he will get to the stage, because when you get elderly, you know, and you become an elderly mankind, man or woman, you will not be able to eat as much, nowhere near as much. But all of that for your job, I noticed because I was reading some of the comments. Do you see what I mean? But it's absolutely correct what they were putting, whoever was commenting. You know what I mean? Commenting, sorry. You know, they said, no job is worth that. And I totally agree with it, my delicious little baby. So I'm not, you probably think, oh, you know, if I'm being catty or bitchy. No, I'm not. I'm just saying, I do not feel that is the right way that one should, there we are, treat their body, my delicious little babies, okay? And I'd be very surprised if he never projected or vomited. You know, I'd be very surprised at that. Because who could eat that level of food? Seeing it is believing it, my delicious little babies. No jerk. There we are, swear down. Seeing it is believing it. But like I said, you know, imagine if there was no food now. Do you know what I mean? He wouldn't give nobody the drippings, old-fashioned saying, my delicious little baby's just a figure of speech. You wouldn't give you the drippings off his backside. Do you see what I'm saying? That's why I wouldn't like somebody like that living in my road. Do you see what I'm saying? Yes? Anyway, my delicious little babies, so that's the video. So wherever you are in the world, please have a super duper delicious time. You only get one life, my little honey bunnies, okay? And sending peace, love, harmony, and bright blessings to each and every one of you. And may your beautiful little selves and your beautiful little families all be fully protected, okay? Please take care of yourselves, and please try to take care of others. And if the weather is delicious where you are, there we are, please and thank you. Please enjoy every moment of it, okay? So, yeah, no problem with anybody eating their grub, their food, do you know what I mean? But not to that level. That's just damn silliness now. Do you know what I mean, Mads? There we are. It's just damn silliness. Do you see what I'm saying? Yes, okay. There's nothing good about it, but I just thought I'd mention it just so you can see for yourselves. And of course, with these videos as well, he says, you know, it's like he drops in bits and pieces, so I'll just leave that with you, okay? So until my next video to you all, thank you so very much for anybody who views my videos or puts a like and the occasional comment. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so very much. How I love you all so. Thank you for listening. Take care once again. Goodbye.